Thank you for joining me tonight, everyone. I really, really appreciate you guys finding the value in wanting to level up your process this year for looking for opportunities to literally be your best in all aspects in all phases of your life. So the reason why I wanted to have the very first master class and offer it to everyone who wanted to join in is so that you can get a little clarity on exactly what this whole process is all about and what this process will offer you, have an opportunity to offer you. So first, what I wanted to do is take an opportunity to just thank you. Thank you for a few reasons. Thank you for realizing the importance of wanting to invest in you. So, if you've heard me speak before, you hear me always talk about reasons as to why we should make absolutely no excuses to spend quality time and investing in ourselves. Because what happens with that is you start to recognize the importance of why it is that you matter. You matter more so than anything else. There's no way for you to be a caregiver. There's no way for you to be a good mother. There's no way for you to be a good wife, sister, aunt, grandmother, unless you are doing what is necessary for you to take care of you first. So I wanted to just recognize you for a minute, just to say congratulations. I applaud you. I look forward to being able to joining forces with you and you joining the master class and taking hold and taking accountability for who you are so that you can level yourself up in the process this year to see exactly how far you can go in 2018 with some of your goals, some of your dreams, and some of your desires. So I also want to welcome everyone who is joining me. So you're going to see me looking back and forth because the one thing that I decided to level up in and try my best to level up in this year was getting a little, like kind of jumping into this technology thing. I have children that I can normally call on to say, hey, come and help me get this set up and schedule this but they're all now grown adults, so nobody wants to come and support, right? When you really need them. So I have three monitors going on around me because I wanted to be able to service you all to the best of my ability. So I have you on my Facebook Live. I have you on two different Zoom applications, one supporting one network and the other one supporting another network. So I welcome you. So if you see me going back and forth to different screens, that's the reason. Not that I'm ignoring anyone. I just want you to know why it is my head will turn back and forth. So we're going to jump right in. Um, I wanted to also take the opportunity to thank those of you who have purchased your book. Again, 2018, it's all about leveling up the process of who you are and taking the opportunity to getting to know you a little better. We spend and we invest a lot of time in everyone else. Now is the time to take a minute, take a deep breath, breathe in and exhale, set the stuff down that you no longer need to carry, and spend a few moments loving on you. Because that's what it's all about. When you can feel good about who you are and when you can level up in your own processes of life, life as itself will show itself totally different. You'll see things differently than you ever saw them before when you are absolutely in tune with who you are as a person, when you are absolutely in connection with everything that's going on around you. So what I encourage you to do is when we come together, for those of you who will decide to join me after this call and Facebook Live post and Periscope post, when we come together, I want us to come together and put everything down. This 45 minutes to an hour is for you. It is for you to embrace who you are and for you to understand the importance of self care. So, can I get some love and encouragement and some thumbs up and some hearts up on Facebook? Share, share, share the Facebook Live post. Invite others to join the Facebook Live post. Do whatever it is you need to do to invite others in because it's important for us to take a minute and talk about our self care processes. So, the first thing that I want to do with you is just welcome you to the opportunity of becoming your best. If you had an opportunity to look at the first few chapters in the book before coming on the call tonight, which is I hope a lot of you had an opportunity to do, you'll notice that the first chapter in the book is talking about becoming your best. It's talking about becoming your best because in order for you to move forward with anything that you do, you have to be the best possible person you can be. Um, I got a few inboxes that I do want to respond to, and I want to say thank you to Danielle P. Danielle sent me an inbox and she said, thank you for recognizing the importance of creating such a journal. She says, I've been wanting to journal the processes of my life for a long time, but never felt it necessary enough for me to take the time to invest in me. So thank you. Thank you so much for that, Danielle. Thank you for the encouraging words because when I decided to write this book, Being Your Best 52-Week Journal to Self Discovery, trust me, it did not start out as a journal to self discovery. It started out with me typing and just sending out random posts on my social media pages. And for those of you who heard my story, you heard me at the book signing say that um, we never know where our support comes from when it comes to taking care of self. I was sending out random posts regarding what was going on with me and probably my life as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a friend, as a business owner. And I had my neighbor literally send me about 100 or more of my posts. And she said, you really need to invest in putting this in a book format. I had no idea that I had compiled so many positive, motivational, inspirational things that had nothing to do with anyone else but me. But what I will tell you is what I learned that I was doing is I was taking the time out to check out who I really was, who it was I was becoming, what woman was I becoming to myself, to my friends, to my family, to my colleagues. It was all about me becoming my best. So if you had an opportunity to read the first 4 weeks of the journal, which is what we're going to talk about tonight, you had an opportunity to understand that there's certain disciplines and new habits and new ways of thinking that you will need to consider when you start this process. Because what's going to happen is once you start this process of identifying who you really are, and once you commit to how you will make the necessary changes to become who you're really meant to be, your whole life is going to change. Your whole life is going to change because what happens is you start designing the energy that is necessary and needed to support what you're putting out into the world. You begin to understand the power that you really have to manifest potentially in yourself. Okay, I'm going to say that again just in case you didn't catch that. You begin to understand the power that you potentially begin to manifest in yourself. I didn't even understand what that meant until I started seeing the things around me start to change. I had to really embrace me and the unique set of circumstances that only surrounded me. Um, if you've ever seen me speak, I give this example quite a few times where I have people look at the palms of their hands because you are uniquely designed that everything you touch becomes yours. No one else, even if they've created something just like you have, no one else can put their mark on the world the way you can put your mark on the world with whatever it is that you've designed for you. Does that make sense? That makes a lot of sense, right? So, what I want you to understand that in this 52-week process, you're going to be exploring so many different things that's going to come to surface and come to life for you. It's not going to be an easy process. It's going to make you uncomfortable. It's going to make you probably not even like who you who you were before you started embracing the new differences that you're going to see and that you're going to become. You're going to be able to tell your inner critic where to go because that inner critic sits right there. It's always waiting to empower or impart some type of self doubt, some type of way of getting you to change your mind on what it is that you potentially know you are really good at being able to do, but that inner critic is giving you some other reasons as to why you shouldn't. It's that little fear factor that we have that kind of resonates from our soul. It kind of like comes up from the inner side of our core, that doubt that you have, that we start to doubt ourselves before we even put the processes in place to see if we can actually make this thing happen. You're going to learn how to start forgiving yourself from all of those fear factors that you set in place that kept you from being the best possible you that you can be. You're going to really learn how to manage the importance of what's good for you versus what's not good for you. You're going to start to understand exactly how it is that your soul speaks because we're all born with this intuitiveness that directs us. It gives us our path of where it is we should be going. But that inner critic that sits right there, it manifests itself in a totally different way. It shows up in different ways in your life, and it makes you start to question your judgment. How crazy is that? How crazy is it that we were already designed to know right from wrong and good and bad? We were designed, we were made that way, but yet we will question our judgment. This 52-week guide to self discovery will allow you to become vulnerable. It's going to test you in so many different ways. It's going to make you not feel so good about some of the decisions that you've made for yourself and in your life. It's going to really, really show you and tell you as you start speaking to yourself, as you start feeling the connections that you're making with your friendships, with your peers, with your colleagues, with your family. It's going to allow them to really see who you really are. You're going to become so transparent with yourself, it's going to make you uncomfortable. It's going to really make you become uncomfortable. But the good thing about self discovery and about self care is that it teaches you that you need to invest time in you. It really teaches you to become selfish about you. For a long time, I was taught that becoming, speaking and thinking of self first was showing lack of love for others. But when I started going through my process of self discovery and taking all of the necessary courses that I needed, because just like I'm offering this course to you, I had to invest in me. I had to invest in me so that I could get to a point of knowing exactly where I was along that walk. I call it the destination life. I call it my map to destination life of becoming my best. Where was I along that journey of destination life that made me uncomfortable? Those uncomfortable times were the times that I realized were the important areas in my life that I needed to pay attention to. I needed to pay attention to how I walked, how I talked, how I moved, how I, was able to manage my businesses, how I was able to manage my friendships, how I was able to remain a a thoughtful wife, a thoughtful mother, all of the nuances that made me who I am. I had to give thought to each of those roles, because we play such a different role in other people's lives. How others see you is not important. How you see yourself means everything. Okay, I'm gonna say that again because see, some I need you to catch some of this stuff. How others see you, chapter 2. How others see you is not important. It is how you see yourself that means absolutely everything. Because the one thing that I can tell you walking through the journey of through the process of self-discovery is you will not be able to please everybody all of the time. It's just impossible. It's impossible for you to be able to please everyone all of the time. It's impossible. But if you see yourself for who you are and knowing that you are giving the best of who you are, and that's in everything, in every aspect of your life, right? There should be no negotiating when you know that you are giving 100% of yourself and you are giving your best. There should be absolutely no negotiating with that. Then there's no reason to question what role you play in other people's lives. Remember, perception is everything to some and relative to others. I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you always willing to play along, even if you really don't want to play along in some of the roles that you play in other people's lives? Because that's really, really key and that's really, really important. Because sometimes what we do is we settle. We settle for friendships, we settle for relationships, we settle for mates, we settle because we don't put enough value on who we really are. We become annoyed with some of the decisions that we make because we just play along. We don't really want to do what we're doing, but we do it because we develop the attitude play along to get along. We've developed that attitude. So when you just sit back in the cut and let someone else run your life of what it is that makes you feel good versus what it is that makes you feel bad, you are giving up on who you are really meant to be. You are allowing someone else to dictate to you exactly who you were meant to be and who you are meant to be. We develop core tendencies um, around the people that we associate with. So, some people in your life may be leaders, some people in your life may be followers. What you have to understand and design for you is who are you in the grand scheme of things in your relationships. Yes, Lisa, we settle all the time. Because sometimes what happens is we allow somebody else's voice to be bigger than ours. Even if we really don't agree, sometimes we do agree to disagree, and sometimes we settle to agree with the things that we really don't agree on. And every single time you do that, you're stripping away a little bit more of your power. Every time you agree on something that you really don't agree to, just because someone else's voice seems to be a lot bigger than yours, it strips away your power. Now let me share something with you because I really didn't understand what this power thing was all about when I started my process to self-discovery. When I developed my core methodologies of what are non-negotiables for me, um, the one thing that I really understood is um, other people's opinions of me is none of my business. I no longer agree to I no longer agree to get along. I no longer agree just to get along because how it is I feel and how it is you feel is more important. Because at the end of the day, when you go home and you look and stare at yourself in that mirror, you have to really, really feel good about what's staring back at you. If you've ever had opportunity where you've been in relationships where you've become stressed because there's certain types of relationships that take you out of your comfort zone, I want you to ask yourself a question. Ask yourself the question, do they really matter enough for me to take a stand in what it is I believe in? Do they really matter enough? Because sometimes we find ourselves fighting to hold a position with people who really don't matter. How important how important is it that their relationship uh, stays on the surface with you? How important is that? How important is um, the role that someone else plays in your life? Because if we put people in categories, which a lot of times we do not, we seem to lump everybody in the same category. And I was guilty. Let me just tell you how guilty of that I was. Um, I'm very friendly. My friends that are very close to me, they know that I have, or should I say, I used to. So let me correct my own mistake. I used to have a large number of friends. And I've had friends say to me, boy, oh boy, you just pull them in. You can just, if she meets you today, she's your best friend tomorrow. Well, because I believe, I've always believed that I give people enough room to hang themselves when it comes to a relationship. If you're good to me, if you're nice to me, I'm good to you and I'm nice to you, right? But I did used to lump everybody in the same category. Once I started going through my process of self discovery, I set triggers for myself with my relationships and with my friendships. I set triggers for myself. And what do I mean by that? I started making a list of what I was comfortable with, what I wasn't comfortable with, what I would take, what I wouldn't take, and that determined the type of label that person became in my life. Now, that might not work for you, but I encourage you to find a way so that when you're in a disagreement with someone that matters to you, you understand where they should be in the grand scheme of thing of your life. And if it's somebody who really doesn't matter, you can now move them into the other category of whatever the design labels that you're now putting on your relationships. Because everyone should have a different type of label. No one should share the same space at a time if they're not giving you the same things. Does that make sense? I can see some of you nodding. And what that says to me is that we've all been there. We've all had relationships that their opinion of who we are meant more to us than our opinion of who we are. Because we all go through that. We all go through wanting to be accepted by everyone. We're all subject to wanting to have everyone like us. There may be instances where you may not want people to like you because you're all in a chorus telling you that that person is no good for you. But subconsciously, because you're inbred with, and I won't say you, I'm going to talk about me because I was inbred with being that friendly person that everybody knew me to be. Subconsciously, I wanted everyone to be happy with who I was. But at the end of the day, I would move and go home and not be happy with who was staring back at me when I looked in the mirror. You don't even understand how powerful that is. When you can walk away from a situation, put a person in a category, be real clear with who they are to you and who they've become, and go home and look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with who stares back at you. Let me tell you, that was a powerful moment for me when I learned that other people's opinions of me is their business. It's none of my business. It's none of my business. Which leads us to week 4 in the book. How well do you know the people that you interact with in your circle? How well do you know them? Protect your circle. Invest in people who will feed you as much good as you feed them. How well do you know the people that are in your circle? That's a good question, because sometimes we associate with people just to see where the level up process can be. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how well do you know them? Are you just tagging along to see exactly what you can get from them? Are you also bringing something to the table to feed them? Are they leaving a positive impact on you? Are you leaving a positive impact on them? Are you putting in more work in holding on to the relationship than they are putting in to holding on to a relationship with you? How much value do you place on yourself? How much value do you place on yourself? Because when you place value, when you put yourself at the highest level of esteem that you can possibly place yourself in, and that energy starts to resonate from you, you draw those same like minded people. Those people are the people who will sit at your table. And it's okay that you don't have room for everyone to sit at your table. It is okay for you to identify those that need to be sitting at your table versus those that do not. It is okay. During this 52-week journal of self-discovery process, you're going to find that a lot of the topics that I cover in this journal are topics that you already know about. You've already experienced them. You, for whatever reason, may have pressed the pause on those areas. You may have decided that facing the fear of some of the topics was just too great for you rather than to hit them head on and deal with them head on, because we like to feel good. That's a fact. That's a given. We like to feel good. We don't like to ever feel uncomfortable. But unfortunately, for you to get to the next level in the phase of life where you're supposed to be, a certain level of discomfort is required. There's no way of getting around it. There's no way of not facing the fears that's holding you back from becoming the best possible person that you can become. That's the whole reason why I decided to start this master class, because I'm all about accountability. I'm all about holding people to a certain level because I hold myself to a certain level. And when you can hold people accountable, you expect for them to hold you accountable to give them the same opportunities that they give you. Accountability is key. Accountability is what birthed this being your best 52-week journey to self-discovery. Accountability is what has birthed a lot of the different projects that I've been able to create in 2017. Accountability is something that will hold you to a higher level to get the things that you promised yourself you would do, because there's no reason for you to make excuses for them anymore. This is the time for you to be able to level up, release the pause on everything that has been holding you back from your greatness. Take the time to invest in you. Become accountable for your actions. Do not continue to walk in actions and not put forth the action. What do I mean by that? Some of us are good with creating ideas, and we talk about those ideas. Um, and every time you run into them, they're talking about that same idea, but you never see the idea come to fruition. When you become accountable, every single thing that you set yourself up for, where someone else is becoming your accountability partner, they hold you to a level of raising your bar. They will hold you to a level of keeping yourself accountable for the things that you say you will do. What's wrong with that? Everybody can use a little accountability in their lives if it means that it's going to take you to the next level of your life. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want someone that will become a partner with them to share in their success, no matter what the success is? It could be, we talk about weight loss challenges. It could be, I just want to be able to see myself lose 10 pounds a month. Somebody can hold you accountable because you're going to give them a list of what your thought processes are surrounding losing that 10 pounds a month. And they're going to make sure that they're holding you to the level of excellence to achieve the goal. It could be launching your business, getting your business off the ground and running. You give that person a checklist of every single thing it is that you want to complete in the course of a week, in the course of a month, and all you're doing is having your once a week conversations of accountability. Who doesn't want to be held accountable? If it means that being held accountable can get you to levels of success that you would not have otherwise been able to do on your own. So I welcome you all to the Being Your Best Masterclass. What I don't want to do is give it all away, right? Because sometimes when you just give it all away, there's no value placed on it. I place great value on the process of everything that I have put in this book. Because for those of you who knew me way back when, my talk is not the same talk. My walk is not the same walk. I speak things into existence. I hold myself accountable and I make it happen. I grew up with the philosophy of leading by example. I can't expect for anyone to read this book and put the lessons that's applied in this book in their own life if I haven't applied them to myself first. My promise to myself that I have made in the legacy that I plan to leave is to be able to touch as many lives as I possibly can and help them towards their goal of being their best. And that's in every aspect of your life. That's in every aspect of your life. And what a beautiful way to be able to walk through the journey of the process of self discovery and be able to journal your accomplishments. Because none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect, right? So sometimes we're going to have those challenges that we're not going to feel like doing, or we're not going to understand what it may take to get you to the next level. But that's why having an accountability partner is so important, because that accountability partner can keep you motivated as you are motivating them to reach their goal. When you're talking about the list of different agenda items that are in the book for self discovery, this book is going to touch so many essences of your core. And again, if you're not uncomfortable with this process, then I'm not doing my job. If I'm not making you uncomfortable in this process, then I didn't do my job with creating this. I just didn't do my job with creating this. We live a life, most of us, and what you're going to realize is when I share stories with you, when I share things with you, I'm talking about me first, because the only way that I can help some get through the process of self-discovery is to share with you my own examples of life. I'm a true believer that we all experience the same things in life. Our names and faces just change, which is the reason why I wanted to form this master class. Now, tonight is very informal, so I'm touching on different topics. But when I start this class next month, it will be a regimented class where we will go through the topics that's discussed within those 4 weeks, and we will pick them apart one by one. So I leave no stone unturned while you're walking through the journey towards self discovery. Because it is so important that you understand getting to know who you are and the self care that you place on yourself, the value that you place on self care for yourself. It is so important. So I welcome you to the self discovery process of being your best. What I want to do is I want to share with you a few more of the messages that were sent to me. I got a message from Valerie R. And Valerie said, "Thank you so much for putting together this call." She says, "I'm sorry, Valerie, I'm reading this. Thank you so much for putting together this call. It's time that I start paying attention to me and journal my thoughts along the way. I've far too long had relationships that were no good for me. And reading this book is helping me to understand to place value on myself." Thank you, Valerie, for that. Thank you so much for that, Valerie, because it's all about being able to know that we are just important as the next person. And when we don't place value on who we are, we're not showing up in the world the way we're supposed to be showing up in the world. We all have this unique power of being able to touch, embrace, and support other people. When we dim our own lights, we find that it's very difficult to be able to exude the power that we're supposed to be exuding. When you allow that inner critic to become just a lot bigger than who you really are meant to be and who you were really designed to be, you are stripping away the essence of who you are. You are truly stripping away the essence of who you are. Going through this process of self discovery. So let me, and I said I was going to take like the last couple of minutes to tell you some of the different changes that this process of self discovery has helped me with. So for a long time, I felt it necessary to hold on to some of the relationships that I've had because, but number one, they meant a lot to me. But more importantly, it was just like a sisterhood that I felt that I discovered and that I developed over the years. But what was happening is every single time that I would leave some of the entertainment that was had, I wasn't feeling so happy with me as a person. Um, when I started this process of self discovery, what I realized is it's okay to be on a different path and a different journey than some of your friends, some of your family, some of the people who you hold very close and dear to you. It's okay to be on a different journey and on a different path. And guess what else I learned? I learned that not everybody is going to understand why you have taken a different direction, why your course of life has begun to change. Because when you start identifying with who you are, and when you start understanding that you are important and that you matter, you start looking at the things around you totally different. The The relationships are not the same. The friendships are not the same. The conversations are not the same. The people who are sitting at your table, they're not the same. Their faces start to change because now what you're doing is you're putting out to the energy and you're inviting and you're welcoming change into your life. And as long as you're working in harmony, what it is you're requesting for yourself, and it's okay to want change. Change is good. A lot of us are scared or fearful of change because we're so used to being in that comfort zone of self. Sometimes you have to get uncomfortable because once you become uncomfortable, you open up a world of new possibilities. You open up such a world of new possibilities. So that was just one of the nuances that I discovered while walking on my journey towards self-discovery. I'll share one more with you that I'm really big on. And I've noticed that over the last probably 4 or 5 years, I pay so much attention to the language in which I speak to myself. I pay so much attention to the language in which I speak to myself because I really believe that language is the first thing that hits the universe. Our energy is so entwined with the language that we start with up here. It resonates from here, and then it comes forth from our mouth. The language that you speak with yourself is so important. Um, when you press the pause button on certain areas of your life and you start to diminish your greatness and start to devalue your greatness, those are the types of energies that start to come to you. When you start to speak life into yourself, and when you pay attention to your language, you start paying attention to every single word you use to describe who you are. So, in conversations that I've had with some of my colleagues, with some of the people that I coach, with some of my friends, they know that every single time they use the word try, I correct them. They know that every time they start out a sentence with saying I'm going to, I correct them. They know that every time they interject a thought that means that it's something that they're destined to do, I correct them. Because you have to start talking about the things as if you're already doing them. You have to take the word try out of your vocabulary. You have to just put into the universe and put out there exactly what it is you want to do, and then allow your footsteps to walk towards the goal. You have to remember that our universe is designed and created through the energy that we put out. If you put out bad energy and bad vibes, that's what you're going to be attracting to yourself. If you start to speak life into who you are and to who it is that you're becoming, you notice how I didn't say want to become? If you start putting life into who you are becoming, that's what finds its way to you. So it's no longer about talking about it. It's no longer about waiting for things to happen to you. You have to create the energy out and put the energy out in the universe for those things to divinely make their way back to you. The road to self-discovery is definitely a long road. It probably took me about 5 or 6 years to recognize the importance of where it is in my journey towards life and with the legacy that I plan to leave for me, because it's all about doing things the way it's going to benefit you, not trying to duplicate or mimic someone else's life because you see that their life looks so grand on the outside, because you never know what goes on in their life behind closed doors. So pay attention to wanting to be like someone else, because you were uniquely designed and uniquely made to be the person that you were created to be. It's okay to want to do some of the same things, but design your own course, design your own journey, your map, your roadmap to destination life, to destination success has to be one that's uniquely designed for you. No one else is walking the same course of life that you are walking. So this 52-week guide of self-discovery is going to take you through some ups and some downs and some twists and some turns, and it's going to make you really realize who you are. I'm looking at some of the chapters in the book. Someone is asking me on Facebook, how can they get the book? You can go on my website, joymstanley.com, hit the store icon, and when you hit the store icon, you can purchase the book right there. You can also go on Eventbrite and type in Being Your Best. The book is actually on sale right there, right now, along with the master class. It's actually on sale right now. Um, but I am just so happy that I was able to design and create a platform that has invoked conversation. It's invoked conversation not just for me, but for you, and for to put together an opportunity for us to come together and hold each other accountable. So just let me give you, for those of you who don't have the book, let's just let me give you a list, just some of the titles. Beware of your own self stories. Oh my God, that I can't wait to get to that chapter. Pause language, which is what I was just talking about, the language that you say to yourself. The power of choice, the power of positivity, becoming fearless in your life, celebrating becoming fearless, accepting unacceptable behavior, regaining power of unacceptable behavior, the power of your no, setting boundaries, love and confidence, becoming busy, becoming you, living in integrity, self doubt, walk into the new journey of life, loving you. So, those are just some of the many topics that we'll be discussing in the masterclass that will start next month. I will be posting all the information. If you're interested in learning more, you can head on over to the Eventbrite page, type in Being Your Best. It's going to be posted here on all of my social media. I'm welcoming you to join us as we start these calls once a month. I'm welcoming you to join the accountability challenge. I'm welcoming you an opportunity to invest in you, to stop making excuses for who it is that you are really destined and designed to be. I'm also going to ask you to hold me accountable. I'm going to ask you to hold me accountable because if you have this book and you see that I'm not living in accordance with what it is I'm expecting you to do by the book, I'm asking you to hold me accountable. I'm asking you to put me on blast because that's exactly how we will all remain at a certain level of excellence in everything that we set out to do in our life. I can't expect for you to want to come and join a class that I'm not holding myself 100% accountable for. I am looking so forward to being able to share um, some more of my own personal journey, but I'm more so looking forward to hearing some of your personal journey. So I'm going to sign off. I'm going to thank you all for joining me tonight with this masterclass, the introduction to the masterclass. I wanted to be able to give you some insight on how this class was going to be run. Next month will be a little different format because we are going to delve really, really deep into the chapters of this book. I look forward to having you all and in all that you do. You guys always know how I sign off. Go about your business being your best. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.